and if not dry. I was watching the news, and Louisiana, and now it's up in the north with New York, New Jersey, and all of that area. And I mean, I'm up high in Washington, in Mount Pleasant, so I mean, we got rain, but and we didn't get hit as hard. So I hope everybody's okay. Well, also I was watching heard the whole thing about the abortion now. I mean, oh God, Nancy Pelosi. I was listening to that and I was just like, oh, please, Lord. As I always say, I am anti-abortion, pro-choice. And, you know, both of those sides need to stop pulling to both extremes and come together. I remember one, you know, one of these reality shows. It was Jerry Springer's bodyguard. I forget what his name, but he started his own, and his thing, it was young girls. I mean, we're talking like 13, 14 years old. So, I mean, this is all hypocritical. I mean, with everything else that's going on with, you know, 17, 18, 19-year-olds. But so they were intentionally getting pregnant. And I mean, somehow like having sex anywhere and everywhere with the boys. I mean, literally all day long, because they wanted someone to love. And I remember one mother was like screaming at her daughter, well, I tell you that I love you all the time. Isn't that enough? And the you know, Jerry Springer's bodyguard was like, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah, you shouldn't be doing this. I was like, how do these people get funding? How, you shouldn't be encouraging this. No, let's address the issues. Why are these girls trying to have babies when they're still practically babies themselves because they want somebody to love? Well, yeah, then I think it was on that platform. I thought, oh, this is a really good, you know, like activity, if you will, for addressing the emergency problem, but not the long-term problem. And they gave these like they were dolls, but they were like live dolls. They were pissed. Yeah, they had to be fed, and they had to take care of these babies. I think it was at least for a day. I don't think overnight. I don't think anyone got there, but afterwards it was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is not quite as fun as the little dolls that we used to play with. There was is that Kamaguchi? Or there was when my kids were small, there was those little machines that they came out with, you know, electronic machines, and it was you know, an electronic baby. So it would beep, and you had to make sure it got fed. If it beeped, you had to change its diaper. I mean, you would hit something, but it was constantly, you know, bothering you, and it became such a problem at the school. Now, this, I forget if they're like 5, 6, but they're still, you know, young. It became such a problem in class that these things were banned from the school. So the moms had to take care of the little things all day long. And I was like, no, 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 no. I did that for my baby. No, 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 for a little tiny thing like that. I know I'm running all over the place. I told them, I said, because I think even somebody wanted to give one to my children as like a birthday present. I was like, if you do that, I will kill you. And that thing will die a very, very sudden death. I was like, oh my God, what a waste of money and money to drive us crazy. I couldn't believe the moms who actually did it and took care of the Kamajukushi. Oh, sorry. Anyway, that was crazy. And then I looked at this. Oh, where did I put my glasses? I looked at this Mimsy were Borogov's the Wonderland of Alice thing that I've pulled a couple times. I'm like, I have no idea. And effectively it is, you know, gobbledygook is basically the message is transmitting. But I found this quote and I thought it was funny. So this is Alice. It's saying, it seems pretty, she said when she had finished it, but it's rather hard to understand. You see, she didn't like to confess, even to herself, that she couldn't make it out at all. Somehow it seems to fill my head with ideas, only I don't know exactly what they are. However, somebody killed something. That's clear at any rate. So now we get the translation. I think the message is pretty clear there. Oh, and I had spoken about Tree Haven in Tucson, where I'd gone during 5th grade, and Tatum O'Neill had been there for 4th. But I'll tell you, one of the things that so shocked me about that school, I mean, you know, Tatum's in 4th grade. She was a boarder, but the youngest boarder that was there, I mean, even in 4th and 3rd grade, there were boarders, but the youngest, there was one that was 5 years old in kindergarten. Even in 5th grade, I was like, oh my Lord, what parent would send their child to boarding school, a baby, 5 years old? And I mean, for me, there was no way. Are you kidding? I don't want to keep my kids at home. I mean, I'm still, you know, they were in their adolescence last time I saw them, but you know, for me, there was, are you kidding? I want to keep them home for the rest of their lives. No, bring the wives and the grandchildren. I'll put together a guarderia. Yeah. So, I did have something. This, I forget where it came up, but privacy rights. I don't know how I got on that, but this was something. My younger sister, I mean, this was years and years and years and years ago, but she was complaining that her privacy rights had been violated because somebody had seen something that she'd posted on Facebook. I'm like, that's not what the discussion is about. It's totally not. But Kenny, that is like walking down the street nude and then complaining that people have seen you nude. People, you know, if you don't want some information or something, whatever it is about yourself or what you have to say, don't stick it up on the internet for the world to see. I mean, you know. So let's see what else. Oh, I talked about vitamin C and vitamin B for colds. Now the thing is, and you can really, you know, and it's every 2 to 3, I mean 3 hours is fine. And if you wake up during the night, which I do all this time, but then you know, you take another dose, you take another dose. So a B complex, because if you don't have the complex, it starts a disequilibrium between the B's. So just a, you know, a standard B complex, something you get, I don't want to promote companies, but the drugstore, and 500 milligrams, because the 1,000 milligrams is more expensive, but you'll just pee out that difference in dosage. So the 500 milligrams, I mean, because if you take it all, that's why you have to keep it all day long. You can't, you know, like skip it. Oh, well, I'll just take 1,000 and skip it. No, you got to keep it going. And, you know, just keep it. You'll see when you're feeling better, but keep it up when you have your cold like that. Oh, and then a good home remedy that my mother, I forget if it came from the grandmother or the mother, but when you're going to bed, I mean, really hot glass of milk, I mean mug, because it's going to be hot. So get yourself all bundled up, get in bed, hot mug of milk that has a good dosage of cognac. Obviously, this is not for the kids. Good doses of cognac, or, you know, if you prefer something else, and drink that down. I mean, don't burn your throat. Drink that down. I don't know if it just knocks you out and you sleep really well, or you sleep really well so it helps your body, you know, get better. But, you know, in the morning, you do sleep, because you don't sleep normally very well when you have a cold, but you sleep through the night and you do feel, I mean, it's not miraculous that you wake up the next morning like, let's go to the gym. But oh, and then when I had with the A and E for the ear infections that my son had, another interesting thing with that is when I was pregnant with that son, I mean, I craved eggs. I mean, I had eggs all the time, every day for lunch. And I even said to my doctor, because I was like, well, isn't this, you know, bad for your cholesterol? He's like, well, you don't have any problem with cholesterol, so don't worry about it. And that's what your body is craving. That's what, you know, you need. And there's a high level of A and E in eggs. So, you know, that's another thing. Because I'm sure, you know, mothers, that's why whatever you crave, go ahead. No limits. But that's what your body is, you know, there's something in there that your body is. I mean, with my youngest, it was Chinese food and pizza. I wanted Chinese food and spicy. So I don't know, but I'm sure there's a connection. But it's curious that I craved that so much when he was pregnant, and then he developed something which, okay, I still need to prove, if you will, and have somebody within the medical community look at it. But that was the only, I mean, I looked everywhere, and it was only Adele Davis that really gave me any kind of logical explanation, of course. See, this is one of the problems, is the traditional medical healthcare community. One, it's too much of a for-profit. And second, they're not, again, as everywhere, everybody's on their own page. I mean, even this, oh, no, because there are some extreme right religious people, usually, no, it's God's will. That reminds me of Governor Cuomo's story about the flood, the guy in the flood who eventually dies, and he gets up to the pearly gates, and they're like, well, we kept on sending you help and you didn't take it. God helps those who help themselves. Oh, and then I kept on calling Angola jail. It's a prison. So, little words of semantics, but yeah, jail is where they put you before you go to prison, before you go through the courts, and then you end up in prison. So, oh, and then there's Michael Savage. I looked at him, who he is. I mean, I won't read the whole thing from Wikipedia, but my Lord. So Savage has summarized his political philosophy in 3 words: borders, language, and culture. He has characterized his views as conservative nationalism, while critics have characterized them as fostering extremism. He supports the English-only movement and argues that liberalism and progressivism are degrading American culture. Although his radio delivery is mainly characterized as politically themed, he also covers topics such as medicine, nutrition, music, literature, history, theology, philosophy, sports, business, economics, and culture, and tells personal anecdotes. In 2009, Savage was placed on a list of people permanently banned from entering the UK by British Home Security for seeking to provoke others to serious criminal acts and fostering hatred. Now, see, I think in some things, I'm on the same page as this guy. But see, this is another one of these wackos who's, I mean, I have to read through his books and to show how, yeah, they take a truism, then they go out into the wonderland of Alice, where nobody can understand. Now, his early life and education. Savage was born Michael Allen Weiner in the Bronx, New York, one of 3 children of Benjamin and Ray Weiner, Jewish immigrants from Russia. He describes his childhood as difficult, with a gruff, profane father who would frequently criticize and belittle him. His younger brother, he had a younger brother with a disability, and was born, he died in 1969, doesn't say when he was born. His father, the owner of an antique shop, died of a heart attack at age 57 in 1970, and his mother died in 2003. So, he obviously, well, okay, 2003, his mother died late, after he had finished all of his education and, on a star. So he went to Jamaica High School, Queens College, bachelor's degree in biology in 1963. After college, he taught high school for several years in New York City. Oh, his first marriage in 1964 to Carolyn Eli ended in divorce, and he remarried in 1967 after meeting his current wife, Janet. Oh, Savage also worked for famous psychedelic drug advocate Timothy Leary as keeper of the Stone Gate House on the Hitchcock Cattle Company estate in Millbrook, New York, to which Leary had been given access. Leary hired him to the post because Savage did not use LSD. Savage then studied at the University of Hawaii, earning a Master's of Science in Botany in 1970, Master's of Arts in Anthropology in 1972. Then he obtained a PhD in 78 from the University of California, Berkeley, in nutritional ethnomedicine. See, I mean, like, I don't know, this nutritional ethnomedicine I'm not familiar with, but I'm sure we'd all be on the same page, I think, with the Adele Davis. But why do you reinvent the wheel? I mean, this has become an industry because they basically destroyed Adele Davis. But the backlash of, yeah, vitamins, oh gosh. I mean, you have these nutritional centers all over the place. The vitamin industry is enormous. And I mean, yes, we need vitamins, but they're also going off in la la land as well. I mean, there's all sorts of luxury products. I'm just like, give me my basic B, my C, but you know, your basics, and then you use what, you know, there's because there's a lot of different things that it's important with vitamins and minerals and all of those different things. So anyway, this guy is obviously from an abusive home, and just repeating, because he's just an extremist and looking to cash in. Now, what was interesting with him, so about his first wife. Now, they were married from 1964 to 1967. And what I saw a quote, it was from Celebrity Bio Wiki. Savage was dating his girlfriend, Carol Eli, many years back before the couple decided to get married and live happily as husband and wife. Their relationship was going strong before some problems started in there. And oh, I guess I made a mistake here. In there and live happily as husband and wife. You know, that sounds very bizarre. Many years back before the couple decided to get married and live happily as husband and wife. It just, it sounds so scripted, like something like a PR idiot would come up with. And then, you know, the relationship was going strong before some problems started. This sounds like an abusive relationship to me, because it was from 64 to 67. Then he married Janet Weiner, and was the first chief financial officer of energy drink company Rockstar, which her son Russ Weiner founded in 2001. Weiner received a big payout in April 2020 when Russ sold Rockstar to PepsiCo for $3.85 billion. See, it's just another example of money, 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 money infecting everywhere, everywhere. So, oh, and then this on the card, it was saying that Michael Savage, he is because this is a pro-Trump thing, he is the Winston Churchill of our time. And I had crossed Hitler because he's in that camp. He's a Fourth Riker. But the thing is about Winston Churchill, and he's in my family tree as well. His mother was American, and one of these stories, because what happened was the British, they didn't have so much money, the aristocracy anymore, so they needed an injection of money. The end of the 1800s, Gilded Age, and so the American heiresses from the Gilded Age, the robber baron families, and those making a fortune at the time, were presented at the debutante parties and were exported with their dowries to the impoverished Brits. And this was because Churchill is an old family, Lord Churchill, and he married Jenny Jerome. Now, I saw something recently, I was like, what? That she'd had 200 lovers during her life. And it was so sad. I remember a movie, and Winston was sent away to boarding school, like many of that upper crust, and they do have many, many, many boarding schools. And he was very lonely, and he just wanted his mommy. Well, no, she was off partying. See, plus que ça change, plus c'est la même chose. So, that's another thing. He was kind of an abandoned child, and people like that, children like that, don't develop as much empathy for other people because, they get hurt and they kind of put barriers. And this does, Daniel Goldman even says it's not your IQ that's important, it's your emotional intelligence. And a lot of that is linked to your empathy level. And so if you have no empathy, really, you're not going to be effective. Well, is it any wonder that during the narcissism epidemic, we have 70 to 90% negligent rates across the board in all of the professions? Ding, 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 people. This shouldn't be rocket science. So let's see. So his mother, her would be when I think it's Winston Churchill's great grandfather, 6 times removed, was a David Wilcox, and the original Wilcox family was a David Wilcox in Massachusetts Bay Colony. and was one of, you know, on the Mayflower, but one of the originals to come and settle the Massachusetts Bay Colony. And, you know, I'm sure it wasn't just the one, you had a whole, I'm sure a whole slew of Wilcoxes, because, okay, it's not as prevalent as Smith, but it is, been around for a long time, and quite a few of us. So anyway, that was, I mean, when I looked at this Michael Savage guy, I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. Well, no, unfortunately, it's typical of the profiles, of too many of the profiles you see out there. Pop-ups all the time that just bug me. Oh, again. Come on. Okay. So let's see what they have in store for us this evening. And it really looks like, looking at Biden there, it doesn't look that the Biden administration is doing too well. I mean, and I mean, the question kind of remains, who is at the wheel and who were making the decisions on the Afghan withdrawal? Is that Kamala Harris? Is it some? I mean, as I say, I just don't have the energy to follow all of the details, and I think a lot of Americans feel the same as I do. It's like, wait, I can't follow you guys, and all it is little game playing between all of you guys. Okay, there we go. Well, at least that'll give me something to start with. I'm gonna do 3 cards, but it's, I was listening to all the news. I was making some dinner as well. My problem is I really don't know how to, I mean, I can make a sandwich for one, a salad for one, but if I start really cooking, that's. That will definitely take out. This card's different sizes. It's okay. My cards go. I mixed them up. Oh my goodness. I mixed them up. Oh, I'm gonna have to separate them all. Oh, they got a joker. Oh shoot. This one they got a jack. I'm gonna have to take away the jokers. Oh, they got it again. Yes. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. I really messed up. Okay, here's another Biden's DVE report. Okay, well, oh, yeah, Oh, we got Michael Cohen. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Okay, so for player number one, we've got Devin Nunes, U.S. Congressman, Republican, California, Benedict Arnold. And second card, we've got Biden's domestic violent extremist report. I already read a lot of that. And I read the report. We'll talk about somebody or something on that one. Then for player number two, Sergei Ivanov, Putin's chief of staff, 2011 to 2016, comrade. Second card is Michael Cohen, attorney for Donald J. Trump, the fixer. Then for player number three, we have Keith Schiller, Deputy Assistant to the President, bodyguard. And second card for number three is Donald Trump Jr., campaign official Fredo. Okay, so let's start with Devin Nunes. See what I do with this. Yeah. Okay, so Devin Nunes, as chairman, U.S. House Intelligence Committee, provided corrupt oversight of investigation into Russian interference in 2016 presidential election. In a clandestine midnight run to White House, viewed classified info on the Russian investigation, but refused to share the info with his committee. Placing party and self-interest over country, refused ethical cooperation on investigation, yet publicly proclaims Trump's innocence. Released disreputable, politically tainted memo stating Russia investigation based on an FBI conspiracy against Donald Trump. Oh, well, I mean, par for the course. They're all playing these games. If it's not one side, it's the other. It's just, you know, political gameplay. Nobody's governing. They're so busy infighting and being friends. Let's be friends. Let's be buddies. Let's build, you know, coalitions, not to address the issues of the country, but to advance this agenda or that agenda or another agenda. So, you know, kind of like, well, and this is, you know, well, everybody does it. So where's the problem? I mean, I've been told this all the time. You know, particularly with the intellectual property theft within the international, well, within the academic community, which is also, you know, the international development community. They're all together. So, I mean, you know, is he so different than so many others that we see? Then we'll go, since we're Yeah, let's do. So Sergei Ivanov, Putin's chief of staff, comrade, chief of staff 2011 to 2016. Former Russian Minister of Defense and KGB officer, spearheaded Russian attack on 2016 US election, quoted as saying, the audience to be targeted by such operations was the educated youth in America, as the PA, Russian presidential administration, assessed that there was still a chance they could be persuaded to vote for Republican candidate Donald Trump as a protest against the Washington establishment. British agent Christopher Steele's dossier said one of Ivanov's key goals was to peel off Bernie Sanders voters and persuade them to vote for Trump. Again, the political, game playing to get it elected into office. It's just not the Americans. Everybody's doing it. My favorite was when Dominique Strauss-Kahn was arrested in 2011. I'll never forget that because it was a Sunday. I'd gone by then. I had been ousted by that time by the IMF Family Association, but I did meet up. It was a Spanish festival. Spanish embassy, I'm sure, consulate, I'm sure, had, that's some of the soft diplomacy. And sure, I like these things. I think it's a good idea, but that can't be your only, then hang everybody else. It's just all window dressing and for show, and so that the consular people can go and have another party to go to, and the expats. And because they had food and then the flamenco dancing and all of the different things from Spain. So I met up. There was one of them was Spanish, the other was Italian, on the board of IMFA, and their spouses and I mean, one of them had children. And so they told me, they said Dominique Strauss-Kahn was arrested. And I said, what? I said, oh, that's a coup. C'est un coup, c'est un coup, c'est un coup. From the Sarkozy camp to bring him down. No way would they have gone after him if there wasn't some sort of agenda. I've been beating my head up against a brick wall. IMFA is all of the board members. They're too busy living the good life in Washington and looking to get a job and grapple up the ladder of success and get their MBAs and PhDs paid for by taxpayers, because IMF, World Bank, and UN, and a lot of these organizations, corporate world as well, reimburses these people to get all of these diplomas. One of the big cases I have is Mark Lewis, director of IMF Institute for Capacity Development, Global Partnership Division. His ex-wife, I mean, I'm pretty dumb blonde bimbo. I don't know her, but what I've seen about the profile, real social climber, and I'm sure she spent her entire time hanging out in country clubs and ka-ching, 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 while her husband, she's Turk immigrant. I don't know if I have them in the car, but she's from a Turkish immigrant family. Well, this was one of my big beefs. And with Mark Lewis, one of the things that I saw was working papers by him. He was the mission chief about Turkey and all of that region. He was also at Cyprus. But the trends that I saw, because I looked at it from 2010, I believe 2010 over a 10-year. Well, no, I guess it ended in 2010, perhaps. I forget the dates, but I looked at it for about a 10-year period. And when they were initiating the development, same thing that we see all of the time in developing, emerging markets and developing them into following the lead of the high income. So promoting excessive consumerism, over-indebtedness, financial inclusion, which everybody gets a bank account, everybody goes through the banking system, of course, and tax compliance. And this, of course, enables the tax compliance. So, because there's the paper trail. So try and get everybody legal and get rid of the black market. Now that's fine, but if you are, because the banking systems and the financial markets, the predatory systems and exploitative systems are in every country of the world. And these big multinational banks are part of the motor behind that. So it's bringing them down the same road that the Americans have gone, but the Americans are going downhill. You can't have that. I mean, spend, and just borrow, and get in debt because, well, whatever. You lose your shirt, or you just go, bankruptcy. Well, somebody pays for that at one point, one moment or another, and it's usually the taxpayer. So that's one of my big issues with particularly the spouses of INFA, who they come to my country. We want jobs, and we want tuition reimbursement, and we get, jet setting back and forth because they get a trip home once a year, usually paid for. I mean, these are for the expats. It's because they do have some local employees. And they're all taking it's all a big joke. Give us more when you're screwing up everything. You're to live the good life and the world be damned. So, and anyway, I guess I got off from this guy who is, Putin chief of staff. I mean, all the same games. Sorry. It's the guy who lives here, and every time he passes by my door, he says they're flipping the switch. Whatever. And they wanted sabotage Bernie Sanders. That's, it's all, let's build up all sorts of lies about our own people to make them look good, and then go and look trash and witch hunts and try and bring everybody down. I mean, this is classic. This is also why when I started, right after Governor Cuomo did such a good job. I mean, God, sure, of course, there were tons of problems in the administration and everything, and that needs to be cleaned up. But he was dealing with an emergency situation. You got to deal sometimes when you have an emergency situation. You just have to deal with that today and be like, okay, well, some of the long-term stuff we'll have to put on the back burner. I mean, get me in there and I'll clean up all of these. I mean, first, there's HR. The HR people are freaking batty. Just creating chaos and hiring, brown nosers, bimbos, the corporate world, and all of the bureaucratic agencies, because it doesn't really matter if it's government, pseudo government, they're all doing it. And really the HR function needs to be given a wake-up call. So this one will do Keith Schiller, Deputy Assistant to the President, the bodyguard. Longtime bodyguard and Trump aide, a key witness who hand-delivered Trump's letter firing Director James Comey to FBI headquarters. Interviewed by House Intelligence Committee on Trump-Russia investigation, testified regarding Trump's 2013 trip to Moscow and details of the Steele dossier. After departure from White House job, hired by GOP for $15,000 per month following Omarosa's tape release, payments considered by many to be hush money. Okay, more game playing, more game. I mean, how is any of this serving the American people or any other people? Oh, excuse me. It makes no sense. Unless you live in the world of Alice. So, James Comey. The whole Comey affair was just ridiculous from start to finish. James Comey got a letter from me. I forget even what I put in there. But I'm sorry. I guess the thing that most shocked me about the James Comey affair was because I guess everybody blamed him because they were reinvestigating Hillary Clinton last minute, so that destroyed her chances, and that was what made the difference in the elections and why she lost. However, what shocked me was that Comey's wife was like, you've got to, stop this investigation, or not announce it, or I forget what the details were, but she was like, you have to stop this because it's going to be detrimental to Hillary Clinton. And thank God Comey had the good sense to be like, I can't do that. That is interfering. That is, he said he had to totally not consider the elections and do his duties. Now, is Comey, does that make Comey this clean person and totally uh, I mean, it's just in all of these agencies, there's too much conflict of interest for a lot of people, particularly who have been there for a long time. And, you know, if their friends fall, it's at the point where everybody's involved in some kind of cover up. I mean, it might be small, but everywhere, because, I mean, all of the government or agencies and pseudo-government agencies and everybody Watchmen, totally incompetent and totally out of control. Oof. I am really, really sorry. But so either why aren't the workforces mobilizing instead of just sitting there and whining and bitching and moaning? They have labor market, labor unions. Nobody wants to get involved. Nobody wants to do anything. So let's see what I've got for me here. Oh, I'm gonna speed this up. Sorry, I didn't realize I was so tired. Oh, John Hancock. Hancock. Oh, we already did John Hancock. Oh, I got a joker. Chuck Schumer. Okay, a queen bee trumps a social climber from Jewish Ukrainian family. Yeah, so I guess the Chuck, this again was the 2020. So I guess Chuck Schumer is Jewish from the Ukrainian family, but he and Nancy Pelosi are one pair. I mean, I was listening to Nancy Pelosi right before this. It was a live. It was about the abortion stuff, and I was like, I was almost like, why are you just pissing yourself off to listen to this? I'm like, no, I have to listen to what she has to say. Oh God, when she was pulling out the card about her being a mother of 5 children, I'm like, Nancy Pelosi, I can't wait to get psychological testing on you and your 5 children and the grandchildren, because anybody who grew up with you has to be either as much a piece of work as you or destroyed. So, okay. Here we go, I get it. I'm gonna have to mark these so else mess them up again. Okay, those take out. Then we've got the second card. The Biden domestic violent extremist report. I mean, I went over the other categories in the other video, but you have racially, ethnically motivated VEs, violent extremists. Animal rights, environment issues, anti-abortion related issues. I've pretty much covered all of that. Anti-government, anti-authority, militia, anarchist, sovereign citizens. Pretty much already talked about that. I mean, anarchists, they're all over the place. And the problem, my ex-husband, his paternal grandfather, one was a communist, the maternal one was a communist, and the paternal one was an anarchist. Mean son of a bitch. You know, there's no political ideology there. They just want to do whatever they want to do. The people who live here are anarchists because I said so. I want it to be like that, and I decide because I can bully and shout and, you know, stronger than anybody else. And so I get to set the rules, or it's just for my pleasure, and everybody for themselves, and the world be damned. So those are pretty much already covered. Personal grievances, gender, religion, sex orientated biases. Excuse me, sex orientation biases. So, you know, personal grievances. Well, personal grievances, they should have remedies within the courts. So why are the personal grievances in there? What does that refer to? Which category? You don't have to give me specifics of which grievances, but which category in terms of, well, you took all my land and this scumbag, you know, corporate person is a criminal, and I can't get, you know, I can't get justice. So what are these personal grievances that they're referring to? No, I mean, or I remember it was, oh, I quoted this. This was back in 2007. Was it the Virginia Tech shooting? And you look at any of these shootings, these kids are from highly dysfunctional families. And even the parents are like, oh yeah, we know what happened. Yeah, of course you did, because you know how screwed up you are. So Michael Cohen, attorney for Donald J. Trump, the fixer, investigated by U.S. Department of Justice and U.S. Congress for role in Trump-Russia conspiracy to affect outcome of 2016 election. Pleaded guilty to 6 felonies, including bank fraud, tax fraud, and perjury, neutering his pit bull persona. Pleaded guilty to campaign finance law violations at the direction of a candidate for federal office for the principal purpose of influencing the election over Trump's hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal. Testified in Congress, I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist, he is a con man, he is a cheat. Aren't they all? But oh, sorry, I was downstairs and I got bitten by, but I'll go in just to the Stormy Daniels there. Okay, at least with Stormy Daniels' story about, you know, her encounter with Trump in the bedroom, because she had gone up to his suite. She was hoping that she'd get some money for some, you know, thing that she was working on, some business deal. And of course, that wasn't really his deal. That he never had the intention of doing that. He was just going to use it to get her in bed. But at least she said when she realized, you know, what the deal was, she at least said, well, you know, I made my bed, now I can lie on it. Now, she could have also stood up and walked out of the room. But she wanted the business deal. And I mean, the thing is, at least she is honest about how she lives her life. And you know, not doesn't go, I mean, at least from what I can see, doesn't judge other people. She just is doing what she wants to do. Now, it's not a lifestyle I would how should I say, encourage, but people do have the right to live how they want. But at least she was honest. Now, the other two stories that came out with Trump at the time for his election was the, so then there was another woman who, it was a story about in an airplane. So she's in coach, second class, and I guess Trump, obviously, because you have those in second class go through first class to get back there. So, you know, I guess he saw her going through, sent the stewardess to ask her if she wanted to come up to first class with him. And then, you know, he started having wandering hand trouble and apparently got a bit of octopus hands or octopus arms, whatever you want to call them. And she got up and went to the back to her seat. First off, and I've been traveling on airplanes since I was a child. I mean, no man's gonna. I mean, definitely the steward is not gonna come and say to me, young little girl, there's this pedophile up there. But so let's go to the age when I'm in my teens and 20s. And if the stewardess came and said, yeah, there's some old man, I don't care, some man in first class and he wants to know if you want to come up there. I wasn't born yesterday. Now, if this guy is really, really interested in talking to me, he wouldn't send the stewardess back there. He would get up and come and actually sit down in second class and start talking to me and say, oh, well, you want to come up to first class type of deal. But, you know, sending a stewardess, that's the madam. So first off, it's like, little ladies, if they're really interested in you, then they take the time to come and speak to you. Otherwise, it's not your brain they're interested in. Oh, there's feeling like that. But so first ding of warning, and what your mother should have taught you in becoming an adult and a lady 101. So right then. However, in the story, then she says that she sat there for 15 minutes while his hands are going all over the freaking place. I mean, it would have taken me like 5 seconds of that start. I'd be like, oh, thank you very much. I think I'm going to go back to my seat. 15 minutes? So, And then all of these years later, again, this is not, this is not how shall I say it? Somebody didn't, she put herself in a situation that was just, I mean, you can't say, oh, she was asking for it. Because you have to, no means no. But ladies, you also have to think, if it looks like a duck, it barks like a duck, it moves like a duck, it's a duck. And you stay away. You don't go and stick your hand in a shark tank and then complain that it got bitten off. So, that's another, it's, believe me, I mean, but this is my point. Ladies, have a little bit of radar. Some guy like Trump, my radar would be going off going, ding, 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 ding. Warning, warning. Go the other way. As it should for all the ladies out there. So then the third story that I also heard that comes out in the news, that's another thing. I mean, come on, you people, you idiots going after on these witch hunts, bring out something that's like is a little not so easily like, what the hell is this BS with this bimbo? So it was, I don't know if it was Bergdorf Goodman but one of the exclusive department stores in Fifth Avenue. And so she comes in, Trump's there, he's looking for a present, which is fine, and for a woman. And so he asked her, he said, could you help me pick it out? She picks out some scarf and says, and then he says something like, well, would you like it? Right then and there, I was like, wait a second. This scarf is not a present for some woman that, it's wife or whoever. And he wanted my advice. No, this is a pickup line. I mean, come on. What planet do you ladies live on? And then, oh, come on up and we're going to go to the lingerie department so you can help me pick out something there. You don't have any ding, 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 bam, 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 bam. I see. That's the police in France. That's their sound. It's not like in the United States. Bam, 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 bam. This is a warning. Do not go. No, don't advance. So she goes up. And then he pulls out some lingerie and he wants to see it, how it looks. She goes into the dressing room to obviously get changed and put it on. And then she's offended that he follows her into the dressing room and starts fondling her all over the place. I mean, again, what did your mothers teach you? You shouldn't even be let out of high school. Again, This is not to condone Trump's denigration of women and disrespect for women, and the way he speaks, and his wandering hand troubles and zipper problems. Not to condone it, but it's also ladies, a little decorum, please, and a little bit of noggin. So that's, I guess, go to the women. Otherwise, Cohen, I mean, it's just another, I think I even sent a letter to Cohen. It's just another mafia story. He got burned, so he's gonna spill the beans. That's how you get them. Oh, they burned me long ago. And believe me, I got so many beans to spill on so many people. We could be here forever. Okay. I'm going to get this wrapped up. So then we get to Donald Trump Jr. Trump campaign official Fredo investigated for Trump Tower meeting with Russian lawyer Natalia, I'm not going to attempt that, and for collusion with Russian agents in the 2016 election. When contacted about meeting to obtain hacked information said to damage Clinton's campaign and advised it was part of Russia and its government support for Trump, Dr. Don Jr. replied by email, "If it's what you say, I love it." A true knave misled press, public, and Congress about the real purpose of Trump Tower meeting. The lie, verified by the president in a tweet, placed both father and son in legal jeopardy. Standard fare amongst the Machiavellian game players. And Don Jr., I think he probably, at one point thought he could become the next president, maybe within the Trump camp. That's still, but that boy is, I see, Ivanka, I think, is, a lot smarter. She's the smart one amongst them. I mean, not to a positive way, but she is, and I think she probably has protected herself much more than her brother. So speak of the devil. Well, actually, this is a Queen of Diamonds, which is not really my card, but I'll take it because it does trump everybody else. The other here is Jack of Diamonds. But what did I do? I guess I'm getting tired. So anyway, whatever, I guess is the spirit guide. So Ivanka Trump, senior advisor to the president, complicit, scrutinized by federal investigators for contact with Russian lawyer Natalia and lobbyist Rinat Akhmetshin after Trump Tower meeting as White House advisors. Ivanka and husband Jared Kushner made $82 million in outside income, raising conflict of interest concerns, awarded 13 trademarks from China, while her father vowed to save Chinese telecom company ZTE, raising the specter of illicit quid pro quo, closed her namesake luxury clothing line after numerous retailers canceled sales, reportedly due to her infamous last name. Oh, I'm all over the map with this stuff. Her contact with a, Russian lawyer and lobbyist. Again, everybody's doing it, so what's the big deal? Ivanka and husband Kushner made $82 million in outside income, raising conflict of interest concerns. They're all, Obama's now worth 30 million. I forget the Clintons. It's just, how big is your greed? How deep can your pockets get? Awarded 13 trademarks from China while her father vowed to save Chinese telecom company. This quid pro quo all over the place, all over the place. Wasn't it Hunter Biden? There was a whole scandal about, was it Ukrainian board that he was on? I mean, it's all over the map. Oh, I'm really sorry. Closed her namesake luxury clothing line after numerous retailers canceled sales. I mean, would everybody stop with the luxury clothing line, luxury cosmetics, luxury soap? I can't even get my, I've always used Aveeno soap. That's one of the problems that I'm having. And keep on going to CVS. I got to go over to Bed Bath & Beyond. Once they say online, they have it. But I mean, they have all of these, their luxury, expensive products. And I mean, I've been using this stuff since the 1960s. It's all I can use. All of these, and anything else? I mean, I've got some of the soaps from the, the natural one, like the from the health food store, but they still, it's still not. So stop with all of the luxury stuff. Everything's luxury, 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 high end, high end, high end. And this brings up a good point. My big thing, trickle down. It's greed, it's corruption that's trickling down. Trickle down, if you have a narcissistic and amoral ruling elite, what's going to trickle down? The wealth and spread it amongst the masses? Of course not. Gimme, 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 gimme. So, I'll still win now. I'm gonna have to fix these, but I'll do it tomorrow. Here's my plan. Okay, so that's done. I forgot this. This is my favorite part. The Alice in Wonderland. It's good. I mean, for me, it's the funniest part. Oh God, a whole bunch popped out. So let's use those. I mean, when was it? Yesterday when they gave me the Air Force One and then the presidential seal. Okay, so Biden's DBE report gets, I said it very, very loud and clear. I went and shouted in his ear. The Biden report yeah, they produced another report and said and put it on a shelf to collect dust. I said it very loud and clear and went and shouted in his ear. How many? Ray? Attorney General Garland? I mean, I keep on shouting in everybody's ear, but they're not listening. So for Michael Cohen, we get, you're nothing but a pack of cards. Just like everybody else. God, these things always seem to be coming up the same one. No, and I was shuffling. I mean, they fell out. I did mix them up. I mean, okay, I was just starting, but they fell out. I speaks English, doesn't I? Or are you deaf? This is for Donald Trump Jr. At least wake me up a little. Okay, for myself, oh, I get the king of spades, and that's the white king. He's a good king. If you do such a thing again, I'll have you buttered. That's with Ivanka Trump. I don't know, am I gonna butter Ivanka Trump, or is it everybody here? Okay, anyway. I mean, it's like, these are, I'm almost sure I'd have to check, but I think these are almost the same that I had. What did they have here? Let's see. Oh, I would hardly suppose that your eye was as steady as ever. Oh, this is great. This popped out as well. This I love. Silence in the courts. Or in the court. Oh God. Okay, well, I'll try and get started earlier tomorrow. I was watching that new, well, I was cooking as well, but you know, watching the hurricane stuff. You know, God, I keep people safe. I was having discussing one of the only halfway sane person that comes into this place, Tom. And he was like, well, yeah. I said, look, because he was saying, yeah, there's people with this saying this is biblical portions. I said, well, there's something to be said about that, because we have a slew of what, and I mean, I look globally. I don't just look at the United States. Wildfires, you know, volcanoes, tornadoes. I said, now the hurricanes. I said, maybe it's Mother Nature getting pissed off that everybody's trashing her. And she's sending a strong little message that she ain't too happy. But please, everybody, you know, and try and help out the emergency people. Don't be difficult. If you're in a dangerous situation, try and do your part to assist the authorities in you know, assisting you. Don't have them come back 3 times and you still drown, like in Governor Cuomo's story. So, okay, have a nice evening. Good night. Please stay safe. Oh, sorry. Fly here. Don't forget your masks. So that's another thing that, oh my Lord, like there isn't enough already with the because, you know, with emergency situations, not always easy to a lot of times very hard to, you know, take proper measures. So have a nice evening. Good night. Bye-bye.